today's video, I'm going to take you guys through my entire live trading session. I'm going to show you guys my entries, exits, my thought processes behind them, and overall keep you guys up to date on what I am currently teaching my private team. I actually trade live and I'm actually profitable, and I show my broker statements inside my Discord. What's up, you pipsqueaks? It's a little later in the session today. It's 9:48. Usually I get on around like 9ish or maybe earlier, like 8:30, but for all of you that don't know, I'm on the back end of the day trading business, which is my main source of income. So I usually deal with all that shit first thing in the morning, and then I hop on the charts to film these videos. But it is later in the session, and I don't know if we'll even have any opportunities today, which means I don't know if this will even make it to YouTube or not. But either way, I might still upload it just to show you guys what to do if there isn't opportunities, and to show you guys that you guys don't need to force trades. But let's do top-down analysis of the watch list. The last time I looked at the charts is yesterday. A lot of people like to stare at the charts all day, but honestly, when I'm done, I'm done. I move on and work on my businesses and stuff. So Dow Jones seems like it is testing new highs. It's never been this high before, which is great. It means that we aren't in a recession like so many people thought, but also the US dollar overall is probably weak right now, because a lot of people, a little bit of economics for you guys. Everybody was like hating on Trump because he's tanking the US dollar, when in actuality, it makes all the top corporations that are based in the US, it makes their revenue spike. Because when they are operating in other countries with stronger currencies, when that currency gets converted back into the US dollar, it overall makes their revenue look higher, which in turn increases their stock price, and in turn shoots up the Dow Jones, and in turn makes the US economy do a lot better than what people expect it was going to be doing. Because when the government releases a bunch of news, like when Trump releases a bunch of news that tanks the US dollar, it makes all the US based companies rise, especially if they are multinational corporations. Because once, like I said, like once the currencies where they're operating that are stronger than the US dollar get converted back, it increases their revenue on paper and increases their stock price, which makes all of their shareholders happy, and it makes all of the insider traders that are long on those companies happy as well, because all their stock prices shoot up and they make a shit ton of money. But anyways, a little bit of education for you guys, but that's probably why we're on doing this. But let's go look at the DXY. I bet even though the US based stock or businesses are on the rise, I bet the US dollar is low. So yeah, exactly what I thought was going to be happening. So like, since the US dollar is tanking, like I said, once all the foreign currencies get converted back to the US dollar, it makes the revenue seem higher than what it was, or than it is. So that shoots up all the US based stock markets and stock prices. Anyways, top down analysis, US 30, a little bit of education for you guys. So we're testing new highs. It's a little risky to get in on this because we don't know how high it's going to be going, and clearly it's probably backed by news coming out as well, which the next thing we should be waiting for would be something like this maybe. But I'm probably just going to stay out of US 30 altogether because we don't know how high it's going to be going. But if you guys want to short it right now, macro type of move, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but because I doubt it'll hold up, because usually when new highs are tested, it shoots up and then it comes tanking back down aggressively as well. But the next place I would be looking for trades on US 30 is when we finally get that retracement back down to either the previous highs, which would be this, but overall we could extend this all the way down to this previous resistance support level down here. So if we start to show signs of rejections after retracement back down, I'd be looking for it, looking for longs. But that's more like macro type of trading. There's no scalping opportunities right now in the US 30 unless you were up at 5 a.m. my time, which you're a psycho if you do that. So Euro USD top-down analysis. Obviously, this is based off of the strength of the US dollar as well. So it's going to be shooting up too, because obviously if the US dollar is tanking, that means the conversion to the euro is going to be a lot higher, which in turn shoots up the Euro USD market as well. So this is just a little bit of education for you guys, but the foreign exchange market, it comes down to macro economic news that affects the currency strength in which you are trading. So obviously news has been coming out that's been tanking the US dollar, and in turn it's affecting the Euro USD market. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to go long here, because I'd be more interested in getting in on the momentum to the upside for Euro USD, just because it's more predictable than the US based stocks. Because if the US dollar is dropping, that's obviously going to drive up the Euro USD exchange price, which this is pretty much is. So obviously we know that the US dollar is tanking due to some news, but that obviously is going to increase the value of the euro. So it's more likely if we were to buy in right now that it would continue pushing up, then I would have more faith in just buying in right now on the US 30. But we'll move on. There's probably a lot of movement today on a lot of different charts, but we'll see. Solana's tanking. That's bad for me in my investor account, because like I've said previously, I'm in a big long right here on my investor account for me and my investors, and we've been swinging it for the longest time, and we're pretty much break even on this trade now. But even if we were break even, we'd be down probably like $40,000, or probably not that much. I would have to look at it again, but our fees and commissions on the trade, since we've been holding it for so long, are starting to fucking rack up. But yeah, so probably no positions on Solana here unless we see something interesting on the smaller time frames, which would be longs could be interesting here actually, but there's news affecting all the markets right now, which is a little it could be a bad idea to get in on. But longs possibly on Solana right now, just aiming for it to fill this imbalance right here. But we'll see if I enter that. That's risky to enter. We'll do top-down analysis on Bitcoin next. Same thing. Bitcoin is usually reflective of all the crypto markets. So if Bitcoin's dropping, usually all the other crypto markets are dropping as well. So the next thing I'd be looking for is for longs off of this big macro support here. So on the smaller time frames, let's see what's going on. It seems like we're getting some resistance here, maybe a rejection. Maybe there's scalping opportunities on the 5-minute for Bitcoin. And if we are going to be taking a crypto trade, I'm going to be trading Bitcoin over Solana, because the spread on fusion markets for Solana is a lot worse than it is for Bitcoin. So possible longs here as well, especially since we had this major rejection back up. So if we start to show signs of rejections right here again, this could be an interesting spot to get long as well. I would probably have a pretty tight stop loss just because it is risky, even just most recent lows, but that's even more risky, especially considering the spread on fusion markets for crypto markets. But this is probably one of the most probable setups I'll be taking is a long here, but we'll see. GU, top-down analysis, probably nothing going on here, honestly. Yeah, it's shooting up. We could say that this is a small resistance rejection zone, and this is the first test of it. Drop back down, so if we start to show signs of rejections again back down, we could short it possibly. Something like that, aiming for the lows. That's a big what if though. USD CAD, let's see what's going on the daily. Obviously this is a US dollar based currency pair as well. So the US dollar is tanking. Clearly that's going to drive down the exchange rate between the US dollar and the CAD. So that's why the market's falling. But it seems like we are starting to show signs of rejections off this macro daily support here. For scalping purposes, we could get in maybe on something really quick and small. It's risky as hell because, like I said, the US dollar is tanking right now. So I'd have tight stop losses aiming for this imbalance right here to fill somewhere in one of these support resistance levels right here. But overall, there's not really a lot of good opportunities. The only real good opportunity that I'm kind of interested in would probably be Bitcoin. And that's probably it, honestly. Bitcoin, maybe GU. So the most probable trades I'd be looking for, even USD CAD, honestly, looking for a slight recovery because we had an initial push down to this price area. It's starting to show signs of rejections back up. So the next thing I would be looking for probably is for it to drop down just a little bit more and then start to show signs of rejections back up. And then I'd get in for a quick scalp back to the top side. We don't know where it's going to push up to. And honestly, this downtrend is probably going to continue. But since this is a big macro daily support, we are bound to have some kind of reaction off of it. So it would be a quick in and out. We would have to manage it pretty aggressively. And we couldn't really just step away. We would have to manage it like actively as well. So we'll see if we get a little bit more of a push down and when we show signs of rejections back up on USD CAD, I might long it. GU, honestly, this could be a FOMO trade right here that we could take because we could say that it's rejecting off the top of here as well. But there's just there's not really any good setups right now, right? It would just be all speculation off of kind of like BS zones and hoping that the news don't push through our stop loss and overall the zones that we have marked out. So at the moment, probably no trades right now. Honestly, the best one that looks for positions to be taken on at face value would be this GU trade. Maybe. So just looking forward to reject back down, keep on rejecting back down, have some kind of reaction here like what it is, and hoping that it just has a quick impulsive move down before it continues the overall uptrend. But we will see what happens. I might take this GU trade. It's risky. Also, another good trade would be this Bitcoin trade, but we just don't know if it's going to continue pushing back down and hit the box area like it did right here before it continues going back up. But I think since it has had some resistance at the bottom here already for the last couple touches, I think it's going to continue pushing back up. We'll see though. We will see. There's a couple positions I want to take. I might take like a position on USD CAD, GU, Bitcoin USD, and then just have like a smaller than usual risk. Instead of risking like $1,000, maybe I'll risk like 500 on each, just because these all are super risky positions. And they're not good positions to be taking either. Like there's not really any good setups right now today. So I'm going to let market develop for a little bit, and I'll keep you guys updated with any positions I take. So I entered this GU trade right here, and I have a really tight stop loss on it just because like this is kind of not the best trade to be getting into. So that's why I have a tight stop loss on it. We're risking like 700 to make 4,000. So like super tight stop loss. And if it gets a little tick up, we'll lose $700. And then I'll probably wait for markets to develop for a couple hours. I'll work on some other things and then I'll come back and check on things. But right now, like there's no good setups. Like even the USD CAD one is starting to push down again. The Bitcoin is starting to push down a bit more again. Bitcoin still looks like a good area to long. So like maybe I'll even take a little position on Bitcoin here for something like putting my stops right below the most recent lows and then just aiming for the highs. Maybe I doubt we'll have enough volatility to get back up here. So like, I don't know, maybe I'll risk like $500 on this trade if I end up taking it, which it seems like it's starting to push back up, a little bit of resistance, but we'll see. We'll see if I take this Bitcoin trade. Let's go back to GU and let's just wait to see if we get stopped out on this one or not. So I took a Bitcoin scalp as well. I'm risking a lot on not really the greatest position. So we'll go down. Here's the position on Bitcoin. It's a long, something like this. And this trade on Bitcoin, if it plays out, it'll be $2,000, risking $1,000. Not including spreads, so it'll probably be a little more on both ends. So this is the Bitcoin trade I'm in, and then I'm obviously still in the GU trade, and we'll see what happens with them. They're not the best positions. Probably shouldn't be trading this type of market conditions because nothing's really lining up. But either way, we'll see if we can force something and get some kind of profit. So we're starting to get a bit of a push up on Bitcoin and a bit of a drop on GU. Since we got a candle close right now on Bitcoin above $1,000 profit, I'm actually going to trail my stop to $500. So no matter what, we're locking in $500 and completely eliminating the risk on Bitcoin. And it seems like we have pretty solid momentum going up. GU, pretty solid momentum going down right now. Hopefully you can keep it up and keep up with the momentum on the Bitcoin side. But no matter what, we've eliminated a risk on the Bitcoin trade, and no matter what, we're getting $500 from it. And my trailed stop is right below right here, and we'll see if it wants to continue pushing up and hit take profit for $2,000 or take me out for $500. Take profit on the Bitcoin trade was just hit for $2,016 profit. I'm going to journal this and then see what happens with the GU trade. I journaled the Bitcoin trade and now we're just letting the GU trade rock for a bit. If it just wants to like kind of just sideways trend on the 1 minute time frame, I might just close it because there's not much volatility right now and I don't want to sit here and watch the trade float around in like $50 to $100 worth of profit. So I'll end up closing it in the next like few minutes here, but we'll see if volatility picks up and if it wants to keep on chopping down or not. We're starting to get a favorable push down on GU now. I might trail my stop to $500 profit just because I want to lock in as much profit as I can on this trade. And PA is kind of slow right now and kind of not the greatest, but overall it still looks healthy to the downside, especially for all you onlookers and viewers of this video. I'm pretty sure most of you would say that this looks favorable to continue dropping. But the thing is, since we are scalping, we do have to take in consideration all of these support levels that we could have bounce. Bounce is back up. And that's one of the things with scalping, is that you have to take in consideration all of these little support resistance levels, because clearly they play a factor in this micro price movement in which we are trying to take advantage of when we scalp. So I'm going to trail my stop to 500 profit right now, right before it wants to bounce up off one of the said micro time frames support resistance levels. But we're already up almost at that. Oh, we are up $1,000 now, which is great. So I just trailed my stop to $500 profit, which that trailed stop looks something like this right here. So there's my trailed stop right there. And then we'll just wait to see what happens with this trade, if it wants to continue pushing down or if it wants to come back and hit our stop loss. All right, we got stopped out for $500 profit. Seems like it's going to continue dropping back down. That's okay though, because I'm good with making $2,500 in one single hour. $516. I'm going to journal this trade and then I'm going to break down the trades for you guys one last time. Okay, the first trade was a Bitcoin buy. Just looking for it to reject off of this big macro daily support level down here, which it did. And it hit our take profit. We trailed our stop. It's a good thing we got out because it seems like it's coming back down right now. Good trade, full take profit, $2,000. Let's go check out the second trade. The second trade was a short position on GU. Price was showing rejections off of this support level at the top of it, starting to come back down as a little bit of a retracement, and that's what we were playing off of on the smaller time frames. We got a bit of a drop down, and it still looks like it's favorable to the downside, but I just wanted to trail my stop to keep profit locked in and to keep us safe overall, because like I said previously when we first broke down the markets, is that the US dollar is tanking, and that's affecting all the markets that I pretty much trade. So it's a good thing that we got out of this trade when we did for $500, but it is still looking favorable to the downside, and hopefully we don't lose out on too much profit. But either way, $500 is $500. And overall for the session, 2 trades, 100% win rate, and our net P&L was $2,500. Pretty damn good for just over an hour of work. And if you guys want to follow along with these trades real time, because I do post them in my Discord as I'm taking them, link in my bio. And if you like this type of video, like, subscribe, and be sure to put comments on things you guys think I missed out on or where I messed up on, because I love that constructive criticism. See you guys in the next one.